Coming up today on Channel 97 News.
We meet a radio show host with a story to tell.
Get a deeper look into a different culture.
And see the unique structure of an elementary school in our district.
And it all starts now.
Welcome to this edition of Eyes on the Tigers, Channel 97 News. I'm Chase Skaggs.
And I'm Caleb Froman. Here are the announcements.
Support Oakville staff and students at Student Council's Staff vs. Student Dodgeball Tournament against Melville on March 29th. The doors open at 5:45 p.m. with the game starting at 6. It will take place at Oakville in Gym A. Tickets will be sold at the door for $5 or $2 with a student ID. Come support the Tigers.
Come join Spanish Club on the first days of spring. We'll be making sweets, learning about the new season, and of course, celebrating. See you there after school on Tuesday, March 29th in room 227.
Seniors, you've worked hard the last 4 years and deserve to celebrate. What better way to do that than the all-night grad party on June 5th? There will be food, fun, and prizes. Order your tickets by April 1st and get a t-shirt, gift bag, and raffle tickets. Check your email or contact ohstigersang@gmail.com for more information.
For our first story, local artists showcase their talents at the craft fair hosted by our band.
Andrew and Colden, take a look.
Whether your business is about food, fashion, or even jewelry, the OHS Spring Craft Fair is an opportunity for people to show off their unique talents. Let's take a closer look.
It's a very popular one in the area. A few years ago, it was listed in Midwest Living. It's a big one, and one of the bigger ones. Maybe part of that is the fact that I think two things. One, the timing of it. We have historically always had the first Saturday in December, and right before the holidays. That's a big one to have.
But how exactly does this turn into this?
So we'll set up in like Gym A and in the commons and the cafeteria and stuff, and then I usually just come to hang out and help if needed for the next couple days, and then I usually also take down.
Here are some input from one of our returning crafters.
Especially the people that they're just getting started and they don't know where to start. It's like a super awesome place because people are not intimidating. When I come, like in the spring and in the fall, I get to see the same students. So a lot of times they remember what I did and they're gonna come back again. And a lot of times they bring their friends or they bring their parents by and say, "Mom, look at this," So it absolutely helps to grow the business, which goes back to the people, especially the help of the students getting in and out of the craft fair. A lot of craft fairs don't have that kind of support. You have to basically get your stuff in and to your booth. So for this particular one, the Oakville show, oh my gosh, the help is awesome. You get to meet the people and they are there to help you just like you're helping them.
We would like to thank all the crafters who attended our annual craft fair. With Andrew Blanchett behind the camera, I'm Colton Lamb for Channel 97 News.
There definitely is a lot of love for art in the area.
You know who else loves art?
Who?
Girl Scouts, and they do a lot more than just painting and drawing. Grace and Natalie tell us more.
We talked to Point Elementary Girl Scout Troop 1896 about what it means to be a Girl Scout.
A Girl Scout is someone who helps their community and their friends, and they're always trustworthy and respectful to you. Feeding homeless, the awesome leaders.
Being a Girl Scout is a huge responsibility, and here are a few things I learned about.
We learn about our community, and sometimes we learn about first aid, and we also learned about money management, too.
We learned taxes. Today we learned about disabilities and how you have to be patient with people that have them.
Whether you may or may not know, Girl Scout cookies have already been sold this year, but there are other ways for you to get them next year.
You can contact a Girl Scout that you know, or you can go to a store that a Girl Scout booth could be outside.
Like Sam's, Walmart, I think Target.
These are Troop 1896's favorite Girl Scout cookies that they want you to try.
My favorite Girl Scout cookie has to be like tagalongs, either Samoas or Thin Mints. Thin Mints. Probably tagalongs.
The Samoas or the Adventurefuls?
The Girl Scout s'mores or the Adventurefuls.
The s'mores.
S'mores. The s'mores.
With Gracie Lechtai behind the camera, I'm Natalie Baker for Channel 97 News.
All those Girl Scout cookies sure do make me hungry.
You and me both. What's your favorite type of food?
If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Italian.
That's good, because Matt, Drew, and Riley check out more about Italian culture.
St. Louis is home to many diverse cultures, one of the most prominent being the Italian culture.
Our family came over in 2 different times. My mother, sister, and brother came over in 1956, and the rest of the family came over in March of 1958.
We came in, it was March 30th of 1973. We initially arrived in New York, and then we realized that New York was not for us, and so my mom had some relatives here in St. Louis, and we made the move to St. Louis.
For those that are living in a large city like St. Louis, they all have large Italian communities, and therefore you basically continued your life as it was, except you're living in America, but still went to the Italian grocery stores, you still went to an Italian mass on Sunday.
It was hard, I'm not gonna lie. You know, being from a very small town and coming to this great big country, obviously we didn't know the language, we didn't know anything really, and you know, so the first thing we do is we look for the other Italians that are in the vicinity. It took me a year to learn the language and then also be an interpreter for my parents who never really learned the language.
My impact on my culture was not as maybe severe as that of my parents, who had a difficult time, especially with the language, and especially in finding work that suited them.
We do have a lot of traditions, and basically, usually they revolve around like religious holidays. And I love a lot of our culture, and I like to teach my kids and my grandkids, hopefully, about our culture and how different it is.
But obviously, as generations pass, you do lose some of those traditions and cultures.
Our culture is really strong, family-oriented, and that's just something that I really enjoy.
With Riley Heather and Matthew Churko behind the camera, I'm Drew Lieberoff with Channel 97 News.
It's so interesting learning about different cultures.
I agree. It's fascinating hearing about all the different things people do.
Speaking of different, a lot of people are making a new switch to sustainable options.
That's right. Michael, Lindsay, and Michaela tell us more.
As environmental matters emerge into the media, the fashion industry plays an increasing role.
Fast fashion is fashion and clothing items that are created really quickly and really cheaply. Fast fashion is so bad for our environment because of how they dispose it. So actually the majority of clothing items that are disposed get thrown away into landfills. In production, actually they use a ton of water. And then that water that gets used, it turns into wastewater. That wastewater just gets dumped into our waterways. A good way for us to be like sustainable global citizens is to go thrift shopping or buy secondhand. When you're thrifting, you're truly like recycling the product.
Secondhand shopping helps reduce waste and the carbon footprint from the production process.
I've been thrifting for a long time. My favorite places to thrift are Family Thrift, Plato's Closet, and then there's also like a lot of small businesses in Columbia, Illinois that do resale shops. It helps to keep the businesses that provide the clothes, like the thrift companies and stores, in business, which is really good for not only people that want to thrift for like the environment benefits, but also for people that need to.
There are plenty of options to stay environmentally conscious while shopping. With Michaela Gindler and Michael Agnew behind the camera, I'm Lindsay Marshall for Channel 97 News.
I didn't realize how much of a difference it made to shop secondhand.
There are so many different options to better the planet. Dima and Emily talked to a thoughtful organization.
Diversity in St. Louis has been a hot topic, especially with the increase of refugees coming to Oakville. Oasis International is a charity that helps them get on their feet again.
I'm the boss. So I try to welcome the refugees when they come to Oasis, and we try to give them a whole house full of furniture, all their clothes and English classes, baby showers. Most important thing that we want to do, they need a hug. They need somebody to smile at them and welcome them. I always tell people, have your eyes open to the things around you. Have your ears open to what people are saying, and then be willing to do something about it.
There's no way one person can provide so much for refugees alone, which is why Grandpa M gets help from St. Louis Remarkable Woman of the Year for 2021, Joni Akers.
When we first started 15 years ago in South City, we began to send out letters. My husband and I used to be pastors at a church. We knew a lot of people in St. Louis, so we began to tell them, listen, it blesses our city. It really helps our city to grow, because we want the refugees to become a part of St. Louis.
They're brave, they're courageous, they're resilient, and just to see them, people that have lost everything, they come and they make something great out of their life.
They're so loving back to us, you know, and we are like a mom and dad to many, and grandma and grandpa to many people. And I don't know, there's just a real joy. And you know, the Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. And it's true that as you give to them, as you help them, there's just a blessing in it. We want it to be like an oasis to them. I remember hearing one Iraqi lady say to me, she said, my best days are when I come to Oasis. So they know that when they come in, we're going to help them, and we're going to love them and encourage them.
With Emily Johnson behind the camera, I'm Dima Majud for Channel 97 News.
Helping others is the best way to benefit the world.
There are a lot of people out there doing great things to help others.
Eva, Sierra, and I talked to an Oakville alum who did just that.
Chelsea is responsible for everything that has happened in our lives from December 15th, 2005 until right now.
Oakville alum Kevin Kline was a radio host when he was doing a radiothon at Texas Children's Hospital and met the girl who would change his life forever, Chelsea Campbell.
The doors opened at 8 o'clock and we had already been there for 3 hours. Bald 4-, 5-, 6-year-old kids come in for their chemotherapy treatment, and then this brown-haired girl, straight brown hair in the middle of her back, she came in and started playing with these kids in the corner, and I thought she was volunteering, but it turns out she was a patient. And she was given a 10% chance to live another 6 months to see her 16th birthday. And here's a girl who's told you're probably not going to live, and that's all she wants to do. So I immediately, I fell in love with her because her spirit was just, her will and determination, indomitable.
Meeting Chelsea led to the creation of the Snowdrop Foundation, a non-profit organization that provides scholarships for pediatric cancer patients and survivors. She also inspired Kevin to run.
February of 2006, Chelsea had a record-setting surgery at Texas Children's Cancer Center. We were told she was only going to be in the ER, or the OR, the operating room, for 13 hours. 27 hours later, she was wheeled out of the operating room. They called it a marathon surgery, and I told her I was going to run a marathon. So I ran my first marathon January 14th, 2007, and I wore a shirt that said, I'm running for Chelsea. And 32 people said her name that day, whether it was, do it for Chelsea, go Chelsea, Chelsea's proud. And I told my wife that was how we're going to keep Chelsea alive. We're going to keep running.
After Chelsea's death in 2006, Kevin kept running marathons, which led to the creation of the Dream Run.
The reason the Arctic Run came about was because I always called it the Dream Run. I'd already run across Texas, which was 482 miles over 13 days. We raised $200,000 plus with that run, and we introduced Snowdrop and Chelsea's story to a lot of people. But I always wanted to do the Dream Run, what I called it, because I wanted to run a backpack full of pediatric cancer names to the top of the world, and I wanted to do it by myself, solo runner with a team, a support team.
To run the Dalton Highway, which stretches over 300 miles above the Arctic Circle, was the ultimate goal. But his dreams did not go as planned.
My body gave out, and I had to give the backpack to our alternate runner, and he ran 22 miles the rest of that day, and then we switched on and off the following 4 days to make the run. In my ultimate failure, it's the greatest triumph for the organization because more people now know about it. It turned into a brilliant, beautiful movie, and we've raised over $300,000 with it.
The success of delivering hope was not the most important thing to Kevin.
I hope to show with this movie that you as an individual can change the world. Because Chelsea did, and she still is.
With Eva and Sierra behind the camera, I'm Chase Skaggs for Channel 97 News.
His story is really inspiring. He truly has helped out a lot of people.
Yeah, and starting something new isn't easy, but all of his hard work paid off.
Speaking of starting new, a new coffee shop has opened up in town. Let's check it out.
I opened that sip because whenever the pandemic hit, things were changing. They were kind of a little out of control. And I thought, you know, what better time to just do something that's going to be good for our community, something that's good for me.
But what makes that sip so special?
We are local. I am a local Oakville resident. So we live in Oakville. We have a family here in Oakville. We love the local businesses here as well. We also source all of our stuff locally. So our coffee beans come from a roaster who's in Maplewood. Our baked goods come from a bakery also in Maplewood. We have local tea that we use a company for. And that's truly our mission, is to build others up who really have worked hard to get where they're at, and continuing to do that. So one of the big things when we were building this out was I told my husband I want cold brew on tap. So anytime you get a cold brew, it's literally a quick grab a cup, ice, and fill it up. Super easy, and it tastes delicious. You can really pair it with any of the flavors. Add milk, don't add milk, it still tastes delicious.
Be sure to check out That Sip located on Telegraph Road. With Ava Singer behind the camera, I'm Ian Meyer for Channel 97 News.
We've had a ton of new shops open up recently.
It's not just shops, it's schools too.
Katie and Belma show us the newest elementary school in our district.
In December of 2015, a new choice school of innovation was proposed for elementary students within the Melville School District. Former Forder Elementary principal, Dr. Clark, immediately jumped on the opportunity, and a year and a half later, Mosaic was established. But there were still many details needing to be worked out.
So when we were establishing Mosaic, one of the things we talked about was how can Mosaic be kind of the spark for some best practices that are kind of focused around personalized learning. That was, again, kind of that journey for us. And so what we knew on that first day of school and what we know now is completely different. We continue to grow. Every child has different strengths, and this was an opportunity to kind of play into those strengths even more. We had about a year and a half to kind of do some background and learn a little bit more personalized learning, learn about project-based learning. In addition to our students and our staff, I think it's how we approach instruction. And so giving students the opportunity to, again, explore their passions, but also understanding that all students develop at a different pace. Because of that, students have a really strong understanding of what they need to be successful.
The teachers around the Mosaic building were very eager to implement these new strategies into their curriculum.
When Mosaic came up as an opportunity for me to join, what really intrigued me was the idea of project-based learning, personalization for kids, giving kids what they need when they need it. I thought this is a change, and this is going to revolutionize things. And then I learned about cooperative learning through some different types of strategies and stuff. So we started learning that as a school district. So then we tried that, and that worked really well. And then something just dawned on me. It was like they're learning more from their peers than they're ever going to learn from me. So why not make that part of it? We are able to support them because we can see what are their interests, what are the things that drive them. I now started to see them as individuals who could now learn all of these things if it was presented in the way they could learn it and that they could show it in the way that made the most sense to them.
We spoke to students around the building about their day-to-day experience with personalized learning.
You can go at your own pace if you're a fast learner. If you're a slow learner, you can ask the teacher to meet with you on something that you might not understand and stuff like that. And you can take your time.
One thing I like about my school is you get to be creative.
you get to be a creative and critical thinker by that. And that's the fun part about this school.
It's really nice to be able to move through different classrooms. I love the flexible seating.
The training that each student has endured has empowered them to not only take charge of their learning, but also encourage them to be able to achieve anything that they put their minds to.
My goal in life is, like, some people, they may work like in an office, they may do something, but like, I maybe not a household name popular, but I want to make it, like, do something where people will remember me. I don't want to, like, spend my life, like, working at a desk, drinking coffee. I want to, like, get out there and make people know my name.
With Belma Mujakic behind the camera, I'm Katie Schrader with Channel 97 News.
And that wraps up today's show. If you'd like to see more, visit myohsonline.com. We post new stories all the time.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Chase Skaggs.
And I'm Caleb Frillman. And remember,
keep your eyes on the Tigers.
Girl Scouts. And they do Girl Scouts. And they do a lot more than just drawing and painting.
There definitely is a lot of love. What?
All those Girl Scout cookies sure do make me hungry. What is the funny part? What is funny, Chase? I'm not giggling.